Welcome to Monster Hunters PH. My name is Kuya Ray and I'll be your guide to the wonderful world of monsters. So get comfy and listen close as we delve into the story of the Nuno sa Punso. The Nuno are small but terrible creatures who live in Punso, translated as ant hills or termite hills. They are invisible and quiet creatures. If they get bothered by too much noise or careless movements causing them harm, they get mad and punish the people who trespass against them, especially when their house gets destroyed by careless children at play. Their victims get very sick, and the only way to cure it is by going to the albulario or witch doctor. So every time you pass by a punso, you need to say, tabi-tabi po, or excuse me. While the Nuno's counterpart, the Duende, is a playful hobgoblin who shows himself to children, the Nuno is a malicious goblin, easily angered, that will do harm to those who damage or disturb his mount, and will seek retribution. They can do this by causing the foot of a transgressor to become swollen. Nuno sa Punso are also believed to inhabit places such as underneath large rocks, trees, riverbanks, caves, or a backyard. The Nuno are the spirits of the ancestors. When a tree is to be felled, or a piece of virgin ground broken, or on many other occasions, permission is asked of the Nuno, in order to avoid the misfortune that would come from angering it. The Nuno is described to be a small old man with a long beard, but differs from a duende or dwarf of Philippine folklore. The word Nuno is directly translated to mean ancestor as a form of respect. Warning: the story presented is purely imaginary. All names, characters, and incidents portrayed in this production are fictitious. No identification with actual persons, living or deceased, places, buildings, and products are intended or should be inferred. Nino was playing with his basketball in their backyard when his mother shouted at him from the kitchen to come inside. Nino kicked his basketball angrily since playtime was over. He then dusted off his pant legs and walked over to the house. Unbeknownst to Nino, the basketball was actually kicked over their fence and into the forest behind their home. And worst of all, the ball landed on a large old termite hill, otherwise called a punso in Filipino. In the early morning, Nino woke with an incredible pain in his left foot. His foot had swollen to the size of an orange and he was suffering from a low-grade fever. His mother was understandably shocked upon seeing her son limping toward the kitchen table for breakfast, and she insisted on seeing his foot. When she pulled up the hem of Nino's jogging pants, the swelling had grown to the size of a papaya. Upon questioning, Nino admitted to kicking his basketball over their fence and into the forest out back. His mother and father quickly ran back and found the smashed punso and feared the worst. That morning, Nino was dragged to the albulario, or Philippine witch doctor. The old folk healer ushered them into his hut and took a large candle from a box. Upon lighting the candle, he dripped wax into a clay pot of water while praying and speaking in tongues. When he was done, he fished out the suspended wax from the pot and examined the results. The wax had seemingly formed the shape of a small bearded old man. A Nuno sa Punso had cursed Nino because the boy had destroyed his home. As a malevolent spirit, the Nuno sought to discipline the unruly boy. The albulario then asked for the boy's parents to procure a native white rooster as a sacrifice to the malevolent spirit. The following day, at dawn's light, Nino, his parents, and the albulario walked to the punso. The albulario placed a plate of uncooked red rice by the punso while seemingly speaking to an invisible being. He then unsheathed a wavy dagger he'd brought and pressed the dagger to the rooster's neck. The blood poured down to the plate of uncooked rice, and almost instantly, Nino felt the pressure in his leg alleviate slightly. The old albulario then brought the rooster into their home and cooked soup with the meat, only cooking with salt, lemongrass, pepper, and moringa leaves. Nino was to be the only person to eat half the soup, while the other half was to be brought back to the punso by Nino himself. As Nino walked away from the destroyed termite hill, He heard the pitter-patter of small feet. Nino turned to see the source of the noise and froze. Standing behind the crumbling termite hill was a tiny old man, smiling mischievously at the boy. And in an instant, the Nuno was gone. These extremely capricious and volatile creatures are a sight to behold, but be warned, they are incredibly fierce and protective of their homes. When crossing the path of a large anthill or termite mound, be respectful and say, tabi-tabi po. Take care in where you hike in the mountains of the Philippines, because you just might inadvertently insult a Nuno sa Punso. This has been Kuya Ray from Monster Hunters PH, now signing off. See you in our next video.